Hello everyone and welcome to the 50th anniversary edition of Sun & Fun. We're here at Sun & Fun 2024 with one of the airplanes that everybody's coming to see. It's the Fury M700 by Piper, and here's Dan Lewis to show us around the airplane.
Hi, I'm Dan Lewis here with Piper Aircraft at Sun & Fun 2024, celebrating their 50th year anniversary. And with our 87 years of manufacturing Piper aircraft, this is our newest and latest, greatest innovation, the Piper M700 Fury. The M700 Fury is faster, climbs better, it's quieter, and will have a 25 to 35% takeoff and landing improvement over its predecessor, the M600. Let's take a look around the aircraft now, and I'll show you some of the nuances and changes for this aircraft. So part of the innovation in this new aircraft is the exhaust stack and the engine itself. This is the new PT6-52 motor from Pratt & Whitney, 700 shaft horsepower. Not much has changed in the design for years with that, and in our aircraft all we did was readjust the engine mount so it supports this new motor. The exhaust stacks are a little bit thinner and more aerodynamic, which is why it's a little quieter and a little bit more efficient for us. We certified this aircraft with a standard 5-blade prop versus the 600, which was certified and blessed with a 4-bladed metal prop. This is the 5-bladed Hartzell composite prop, and that's the standard prop for this aircraft. One of the other new innovations we have is the turn limiter. So this is a pre-flight and post-flight removal and replacement option. This helps the tug operator not exceed the limits of the turning limits of this aircraft to avoid damage. So that is a pre-flight inspection now. As we work our way back, the wing, the fuselage, everything is the same as we've had in the back in the past with the 600. Again, it's mainly the performance and power of the engine. So that gives us a better takeoff performance. Around 1,000 foot is our takeoff distance, and the climb rate now is improved to about 2,200 foot per minute at initial climb. Our book will tell you we get an average around 2,040 foot per minute in the climb. The 301 knots is achieved around 250, flight level 250. It is certified to 30,000 feet, and RVSM is coming. It's fully Fiki, 6 seats, 2 pilots up front or 1. It's got the G3000 system in it, just like the M600. And we have the latest innovations in software from Garmin, including the GDL60, which supports the new Garmin Plane Sync, which is the ability to remotely connect to your aircraft from home, so you can see fuel quantities, temperature, location. So if you call the FBO and say, fill my airplane, you'll be able to look at it and say, hey, you haven't filled it yet. We need it to get it filled. So all that remote capability. One of the other changes that you might notice physically on this aircraft is the gurney flap on the rudder trim. You can see it barely here. It's just a little L-shaped gurney flap. That has increased some of our longitudinal stability. So for pitch and roll, mainly the roll side, it just creates a lot better stability in slow flight than we had on the M600, and it's pretty noticeable. But that's one of the newest innovations as well on the design and performance of the aircraft. We can go inside now and look at the newer interiors that we have for this year and the selections there, and I'll show you a little bit about the Autoland feature as well. Okay, we're going to take a look inside. This new model has the new Galeris interior in it. We have several versions of the new interiors that you'll be able to see online later this week. But for now, let's go take a look at this new 2-tone. It's actually 3-tone leather. So you can see we have the black leather on the sides as a trim piece, the accent white. You can do a lot of different things with this interior. It comes standard as an customizable option for you. So like the logo M700 or the Fury logos, you can pick your threads, your colors, your leather inserts, side panels, the customizing, and even up to the top of the bezel up here on the top of the ceiling can be either composite leather wrapped or spring bud, which is the matching of the interior upper leather panels. If you look forward into the cockpit, you'll see a red button on the right side of the center of the column. That is our emergency autoland system. So just like the first one to market with Garmin's emergency autoland, the 700 follows its predecessor, the 600, that was the first one certified in the world for that autoland capability. Meaning if you have a pilot that's incapacitated, the airplane's in good shape, you push that button, the system's going to go find the nearest, safest runway for this aircraft to land. It will handle all of the features as far as notifying ATC, broadcasting on the emergency frequencies, picking the runway, announcing the runway, and making sure that all the passengers on board arrive safely. One of the other features I like about it is, even as a pilot, I may not be incapacitated, but I might have a passenger that's incapacitated. And I, being certified in CPR or being able to keep somebody alive while the airplane does all the work and getting us down to the ground, to me is a big benefit as well. So it's not always the pilot that's incapacitated, but it's a feature that the airplane can take care of you, get you down while you keep somebody alive and safe. So that's a great feature. We haven't had any calls yet for it. Nobody's had to use it that I'm aware of on a Piper product. There are other OEMs that have it, but it's a great safety feature, and the industry's picking up on it.
Go for it.
Okay, so some of the features of our new G3000 with our latest Garmin technologies includes what we call 3D Viz. So you have synthetic vision, obviously, in the air, but now we have it on the ground. So right now, if you look at either one of these models or displays, you're seeing that we have a bird's eye view from behind and above the aircraft. So as it's taxiing around, the buildings are depicted, the taxiways are labeled. Obviously here, where we're currently at our stand, you don't really see any of the taxiways. If you look on here, you can see we're really not anywhere on the map of things. But one of the new features that we have on this is called taxiway routing. So on the G3000, you can come up here on the taxiway routing, and as you can see on my screen here, we can pick a runway that we're supposed to taxi to, what taxiway to get there, so you can plan the entire route, and then it's going to show up on here as like a GPS pathway in the sky, but now on the ground for you. Some of the other features we have now on this, and I'm going to go to full screen so you can see them, is like the synoptics pages. So you can bring up any of these synoptics pages that tell you all about the systems in flight or on the ground of what the aircraft is doing. So right now that's the ice protection. It's showing that stall heat's off, pitot heats are off. If you go to the fuel, it's going to tell you how much is in each fuel, versus looking at the gauges here. Now you get a visual view of how things are working, and if the pumps are working, what the fuel temperature is, if the return's working, and the filters. Some of the other things would be like the landing gear. You do have the regular indicator, but if you want to look at the systems itself, you can actually see each system. Aircraft status, doors ajar. External power, we don't have any. It's giving us an indication of how much oxygen we have. We don't have to look at a gauge behind us now. Another synoptic page that we have is the aircraft status, is what it's called. So it's giving you if the doors are open, what the outside temperature, what our flight ID is, including now the pilot oxygen gauge is embedded in the system versus a mechanical one back on the oxygen box. So that's helpful. You can also look at your maintenance. You have the exceedance logs. If there's anything that's been exceeded, you can see that after every flight. And you have the aircraft logs. So that's going to tell you how many cycles we've had on this aircraft. Some of those things people have kept on paper, and that's good too. But now it's recorded in the system as a permanent log for you. So that's very helpful. And you can download that again through the Garmin PlaneSync and get some of that information sent to Pratt & Whitney or to Piper or to yourself, depending on the subscription services that you have. Some of the other information on this aircraft, for example, if I go into the procedures, you have your charts loading. But performance is kind of cool because you can look at your active performance now, and you can determine if we were in flight, what we're doing. You can set up your cruise with a auto throttle that's full-time active. You can set up a normal cruise or any of the selected items here, or finally what you want to do as a pilot. So you can set up your cruise speeds here. You can do that based on climb performance, cruise performance, and your descent performance. So this is all automated as long as you're in the FMS condition. If you want to run the auto throttle without that, you would go to the manual position, and then you would dial in the window over on your flight director. You could dial in what speed you want the aircraft to fly, and the auto throttle will follow your manual indicated here. Again, if you go to FMS, it's going to be in the magenta color, so that's how you know it's whatever's programmed into your flight plan. So if you go into your flight plan, for example, and you enter a route, say to Vero Beach from here, you can come in on that route and add a waypoint. We'll just do LAL real quickly. And then at that waypoint, you can say what altitude you want to be, but you can also come in and put an airspeed. So all those things are capable for you to use in any phase of flight using the auto throttle or not. To finish up with you, the M700, our newest flagship, the Fury, it nicely equipped is about 4.3 million. The base is 4.1. There's all kinds of options in between that you can add, but it's very nicely equipped as is. Thanks for coming today, and enjoy Sun and Fun.